Hi, my name's Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about breakups. That's because today is Divorce Day. Dun dun dun. The first Monday, the first working Monday of the year is Divorce Day. In other words, this is the busiest day of the year, apparently, for family lawyers because lots of people decide, I've had enough at Christmas time, and they think, I'm going to get divorced because I can't take another year of this. And if that's your case, I would like to congratulate you because even though there's lots of pain involved in this process, it's definitely for the best. And in a year from now, you'll be so glad that you did it. So I would like to offer you all of my encouragement. It's better to be alone than in bad company. But I'm not going to talk about Divorce Day specifically today. I'm going to talk about breakups and whether it's okay to break up with someone over on text message or WhatsApp or email, let's say not in person. And I was having this discussion with a friend of mine just a few days ago who's also going through a breakup at this time of year. And in his case, it's a long distance relationship. So I was telling him, yes, it's fine to break up, you know, on a phone call or in a text message, especially if you're in different countries. And some people seem to think that you have to make a journey to meet each other and then have closure face to face. And I don't think that is necessary at all. If someone's told you in written form, in verbal form on a video call that they don't want to be with you and that you've discussed for hours why, I don't see why you would need to travel and do it in person. I think if you're going to have a trip, have a healing trip and invest in your future, not go over the past. And I don't think it's necessary per se, but that's just me. But I want to tell you about a time when I have broken up with someone over a text message, and I thought it was perfectly justifiable, and I don't regret it at all. Because sometimes when you're, you know, face to face, you can have all those emotions, and you might just, you know, get weak and go right back into it and have some nostalgic breakup sex, which gets you into this ambiguous situation of are we together again or not, you know. Or it could be arguing, you just don't know. But sometimes when you're writing and you have distance, you have time to reflect, and the other person has the opportunity to read as well and reread, because sometimes when you're in a heated emotional situation, you don't really get that perspective. So I remember years ago, it wasn't Christmas time, but I was in a relationship that I'd been unhappy about for quite some time. And the reason why I was unhappy about it, which I might make another video, is because we were sexually incompatible. And obviously, if you follow me, you will know that I'm a very sexual person. Obviously, I'm an orgasm activist, so sex is very, very, very important to me. However, at that time of my life, I thought perhaps I'm not going for the right guys, because I was going for guys who gave me great sex, and they're not always the guys who can give you a great relationship. So I was in a bit of a confusion about what I wanted from a relationship or sex in general. So I went out with a guy who was kind of, we had a lot in common out of bed. We liked to travel, and we even discussed settling down and having children and how our future would be. And we agreed on many, many, many things. So I thought if I'd stayed with this guy, I could have had the completely conventional life with the marriage, the house, I didn't even have to pay for, just lied on my back and, oh, I have a house. But for me, these doubts were just building up all the time if I could actually live a life without passion, you know? Yeah, it was very, very, very hard. And what happened was, it was the day of Sant Jordi, which is the Catalan equivalent of Valentine's Day. It's on St. George's Day, and the tradition is that a woman gives a book to a man, and a man gives a rose to a woman, which sounds very sexist, and I guess it is. However, when you see in the centre of Barcelona on that particular day, it's decorated with roses, there's bookstores everywhere, there's an incredible atmosphere, and you see lots of couples walking around, they're all loved up, and the woman's got a rose, it looks incredible. And I was actually working in real estate at the time, and it's my first time working in the centre of Barcelona, because before that I was working on the outside in more industrial areas, so there was nothing, I didn't even appreciate this particular particular day until I worked in real estate. So seeing all these roses everywhere, all these loved up couples, I was just thinking, wow. I was in awe and a little bit jealous as well. I was thinking, that's not me, that's not us, but I want that. That's what I want from a relationship. And that day, my ex-boyfriend had actually organised a meal. He was making a meal for me at his place, and he decorated it with white lilies, actually, because I told him I didn't like roses. So, and he's going to make me a nice vegetarian meal. However, as the day progressed, I was going to sign a lease contract with one of my with a client, and the tenant and the owner, and I gave them roses. We had roses to give to all of our clients that particular day, and I'd arranged with the owner of this apartment that we would go for a drink, because he was so happy that I'd found a tenant to pay loads of money in his apartment. So we were going to go to an Irish pub that day. So after the signing, the tenant left with the keys, blah blah blah, and then the owner of the apartment had the rose in his hand, and he said, actually, I'm sorry, but I can't accept the rose. I'll explain in the pub. And he gave it back to me. I said, okay, no worries. So then when we got to the pub, he was a guy in a suit, really an executive guy, successful businessman. And he was just like this. And he just, I don't know how to describe it. He just seemed to be full of sorrow, and explained that he didn't want to walk down the road with me with a rose in his hand because his ex-girlfriend lived around that area, and he'd actually lived in that apartment with her. So that apartment had lots and lots of memories of a former love, and he just couldn't do it. And I was just so in awe of this super businessman being so open and emotional about this, and that was an extra reason for me to think, why am I with a guy who's kind of useless, really? Yeah, so I just had all these signs and to show me what I did want and what I didn't have, if that makes any sense. And I thought, actually, I don't want to go to this guy's house and have dinner. It's so fake, this relationship that we've got. Sometimes I think or couples are more into the idea of a relationship than the relationship itself, or than the person they are with. And I think that was our case. The sex was crap. There was no passion. I don't think sex is the be-all and end-all, but at least have some intimacy, and closeness. We didn't really have that. I don't know, on paper it all seemed fine, but there was just no oomph. There was just none of that. So I was just seeing all these things flashing before my eyes of things that I really, really, really wanted and desired. And I just thought, why shouldn't I have those things? So what I did was I took my phone, this is before the days of WhatsApp, so I had to pay for this message, 15 cents probably. I just told him that I couldn't do it. That was it. It was just, and I actually did it in front of this guy. I explained my situation to him, and he just reinforced, why are you with a guy who doesn't satisfy? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Because I think sometimes people, when you've got a normal life, let's say you've got your job Monday to Friday, you've got some friends, Sundays can be very, very, very lonely, especially if you don't have anything to do, it's and all your friends are with their partners, so that's the kind of a time where it's very, very difficult to be on your own. And I think I might have been with this guy because of just to avoid Sunday blues. So I took my phone, sent the message and said I couldn't do it, blah blah blah, and then I kind of disappeared. And back in those days I couldn't block him like you can on WhatsApp. I just ignored all the messages, all the calls, and I just did it for me. I just thought, I can't meet this guy and speak to him about what's going on, because I've already explained it millions of times. There is no solution, and the only solution was to take some distance and say, this is not working for me, it's not enough. And another time it's been great, one of the best things I ever did, honestly, and I would encourage anyone to do the same thing. And I don't think it really matters how you break up with someone. I think it's important to explain the reasons. And well, I think in most cases you've already explained a bit why you're not happy. Well, you should do anyway. I think you should definitely explain that, rather than dropping a bombshell and someone's thinking, I had no idea anything was wrong. So I explained it to him millions of times, but I got to a point where I wasn't prepared to take it anymore. Let's have a sip of coffee. And it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Another time I broke up with someone went over the phone was actually speaking over the phone rather than writing, which was really hard. I was living in Paris and he was in London, and I thought, I am not spending my money on Eurostar just to break up with someone. What is the point? Imagine them in the same bed as you after. Where would you sleep? Would you go to a hotel? And I think it's admirable if you want to, you know, meet someone and do the right thing. But who is the right thing for who? For your ego or for the other person? I just wonder sometimes. But that said, if you're going through a breakup, I know it's very, very difficult, but I would advise you to indulge in some self-love, pampering, connect with your friends, book a holiday, and have lots of massages, and yeah, lots and lots of self-love, and maybe join the gym as well. There's so many things you can do now that you don't have to think about someone else. And even just thinking of the holiday thing, isn't that great that you can actually book a holiday without trying to, you know, make sure you've got the same dates off work with your partner? Yes, that's so cool. You might not want to go to the same destination anyway. So I would say, and also invest in your social life as much as you can, a healthy, nourishing social life, and I'm sure you can connect with other people who are going through the same thing. Anyway, if you're going through a breakup, I hope you found this inspiring, and I would love to hear your thoughts about breaking up via text message or email below, or about breakups in general. If you want to offer any wisdom or other opinions, that would be great. And if you have any ideas or suggestions for new videos, then don't hesitate to contact me at venus@venusohara.org, or you can add me on Instagram at venusohara. Thanks for watching.